Hey guys, and welcome to episode 7. Hope everyone has had a great week leading into Christmas time, and everyone's got their Christmas shopping done. Today's topic is orthotics. So I wanted to talk about these things, which seem to be more and more popular, or the more, I suppose, the go-to thing for people who are having feet, knee, hip issues, pretty much any issues they seem to prescribe these things for these days. I want to tell you what happened with me first before I go into it. So since the age of about 10 or 11, always had issues with my feet, with my ankles, getting sore knees at school. Even before I started training or doing any type of strength and conditioning work, I used to get sore knees and sore ankles, shin splints, issues with running. Always had issues with what was told or thought to be my feet. Now, when I was at the age of 12, so I was in year 7, so still in primary school, I went with mum, went to Rebel Sport, brought some orthotics. So said on the orthotics thing, helps with knee pain, helps with ankle pain, blah, blah, blah. So, went and brought some orthotics from Rebel Sport. Now, paid $30 or $40 for them, however much they are, the over-the-counter orthotics. Stuck them in my running shoes at the time, so just had normal general sneakers. Stuck them in, pain went away, all good, wicked. Then what happened? Later on down the track, 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the track, the issues that I had before started coming back again. So, although I had a temporary fix, the issues that I had before, I thought I'd fix them up, started to come back again. So, what did I do then? Thought maybe the orthotics were worn out, maybe I didn't have the right ones, maybe it was something to do with the orthotics that I had. So, went back to Rebel Sport or whatever sporting goods store that sold the over-the-counter orthotics, got the ones that were a bit more aggressive than the other ones that I had before, so they had a heap more arch support on the inside here. And I was like, cool, give these a crack. So stuck them in, so it was a little bit more aggressive than the ones I had before. Again, helped the problem, was great, worked well, didn't have any issues. Several months down the track, issues again. Started having dramas. All those same problems that I had before started to come back. So I tried the over-the-counter orthotics, tried going to the physio. The physio did like needling on my calves and massage on my calves. I wouldn't say that there was too much of a difference with that stuff. Still, at the time, it would feel great, but then obviously after returning back to sport or physical activity, then I would have the same issues again. So went to the physio, tried the chiropractor as well, because I was told that could be to do with my spine. Did that as well with no real major long-term benefit. So my last option was to go to a podiatrist, a specialist. So I thought someone that specialises in feet, that's done all the study and courses to do with feet, is going to be the person that's going to be able to help me out. Now, so obviously being a specialist, these appointments are fairly expensive, as well as all the parking and things that are involved and the time that's involved with that as well. Okay? Especially the ones that are located within hospitals. So spending a fair amount of time there to be able to make that happen and to see the specialist. But I thought I was on a good run there, and I thought that this was going to be the thing that was going to fix it. Okay, so I went in there, had a chat with the podiatrist, told me what he thought was happening, put me on his machine to see where my feet were, where I was putting most of the pressure in my feet. And he goes, okay, it's the shoes you're wearing, you need to get better shoes. I thought, okay, cool. So I'll go get some more shoes. I already had a few pairs of shoes at the time, but I was like, okay, these are the ones that he's told me to get, so I'm going to go out and get them. So he said I needed motion control, I needed arch support, I needed cushioning, I needed all this fancy stuff. I was like, okay, cool, this is going to fix my issues. I'm going to be able to train and do my exercise with no pain. Went out and brought a $250 pair of Asics, okay? So I've spent numerous amounts of money already on these things from Rebel Sport and over the counter. Now I've gone and spent a couple of $100s to go and pay for the specialist appointment. and now I've paid a few more hundred to go and buy these top-of-the-line ASICS shoes, which are supposed to solve all my problems. Now, I've gone and bought these ASICS, nothing against the brand. Went and bought my ASICS shoes, started to train in them, started doing my strength and conditioning training, so now I'm obviously a bit older, it's spanned over years. Started to go back and do my training, do a bit of weight training, do conditioning, running, different types of exercise. Now, same story as when I first bought my $30 pair or $40 pair of Orthotics when I first started. Great progress, great feeling, felt awesome running in them. As soon as I got the shoes, it started moving around. So I was cool, so I was like, wicked, problem solved. Won't have to worry about shin splints, knee issues again. The same pattern. What happened is, spent the money on the shoes, spent the money on the appointment, had the same issue creep up several months later. Okay, so still had the same issues. It started off great, and then just got worse and worse and worse. And I was getting the symptoms that I was having before starting to reoccur again. So, what do? I said, okay, cool, I've got to go see this guy, got to go see the podiatrist again and see what he says, see what I have to do now, what am I missing? So I go back there, I told him, I said, I went and bought the shoes that you told me to buy, I spent the money on those, I said they were good, but they're still not great, I'm still getting issues and they're starting to creep back again. So, what I got recommended then is these things here, which cost $500, which is a piece of rubber and foam. So now I've spent several amounts of money on orthotics from over the counter. I've spent $200, so that's about between $70 to $100 on over the counter orthotics. I spent $250 on a new pair of ASICS. I've now booked 2 specialist appointments, which are a couple of hundred each. So that's about $400 there. Then I've gone in for my second specialist appointment and he's recommended that I buy these orthotics which cost $500, which are custom made for my feet, okay? So that's in excess of $1,000 on fixing one issue which I've had for years and years and years, which hasn't even been fixed yet, and I'm forking out more and more money for as we go. Do this, do that, do this, do that, okay? Now, so I've got my custom made orthotics, got them fitted, cool. Stuck them in my ASICS shoes, which already had a shitload of support in there anyway. Stuck them in, so I'm now walking around with $750 on my feet on a day-to-day basis, because that's what I've been told that I need to do, okay? Now, walking around with these on my feet, go to train, go to run, go to do all the exercise that I want to do. Same deal again. Feels great. The first couple of weeks, I'm like, wow, this is what I needed. I needed these orthotics. I needed this much arch support. I needed everything restricting my foot as much as possible to be able to help my feet. And I was like, wow, this feels amazing. I can train again, I can run again. Same deal as before, back when I was 12 years old. Same pattern, exactly the same pattern. What happens? The orthotics provide short-term relief, symptom relief. Then what happens after the symptom relief? The long-term issue comes back again. So I start wearing these things all the time. All the issues that I had before start to creep back in. I'm getting sore knees, I'm getting sore ankles, I can't run, I can't walk, I'm getting shin splints. I've spent over $1,000 on my feet trying to get the problem fixed, yet no one has the answer for me on how to fix it. Okay? Now, at this time I was like, well, if I'm seeing someone who specialises in feet, who can I go and see that's actually going to be able to help me and fix my issue? So I took things into my own hands, started doing a bit of research and a bit of reading on the internet about how I can fix it. Started reading Kelly Starrett's books, started reading stuff from Brian McKenzie. So if you want to read those books, it is Becoming a Supple Leopard and Power, Speed, Endurance by Brian McKenzie. Started reading those types of books, watching their videos, watching some of their stuff that they have online, reading their material and seeing what they say about this stuff, okay? Now, what I found out, to my surprise, after spending thousands of dollars, these things here and the $250 pair of ASICS shoes are the worst thing that I could have ever done. And the reason for that, these things are doing all the work for my foot. The reason my feet, my ankles, my knees were getting sore is because my feet were weak. They weren't strong. The muscles in my feet weren't working. they've been restricted by shoes all their life. And as I was going, what I was doing is giving them more and more support. Giving them more cushioning, more arch support, more motion control, whatever the latest craze is in running shoes. I was giving my feet more and more support. And what it was the equivalent of is putting my foot in a plaster cast. Okay, so those of you who have had a broken bone before, you would know that when you have a cast on your arm, on your leg, whatever part of your body that you've broken, when you take that cast off, that area feels particularly weak and not not strong at all. It's exactly what I was doing to my feet, giving them a plaster cast to sit on my feet, providing them with top of the line shoes which were a plaster cast for my feet, which is supposed to be helping me, but were actually making my feet a lot worse. So that's the reason why my feet were getting worse and worse and my symptoms kept coming back, was because the underlying issue was actually the strength in my feet, and what I was doing the whole time along was trying to make them weaker and weaker and weaker by spending more and more money and giving them more and more support. So I got short-term relief, it helped at the time, but then my foot got weaker and weaker and weaker because the shoe was doing all the work, and I ended up just spending a shitload of money on my feet and on orthotics and all this fancy stuff, when the real problem was the strength of my feet. I needed to do the opposite of what I was actually doing, which was strengthen up my feet. Now, when I went and saw this one particular podiatrist, I only saw one, so I can't speak for all of them, and I'm sure there are great ones out there. I said to him, at the time I'd done a tiny bit of reading on the internet, and I saw something about rebuilding arches and strengthening the feet. I was like, okay, maybe that's the answer, maybe that's what I need to do. So when I went to the podiatrist for the second appointment, and he recommended these things, I said, what do you think about rebuilding arches and strengthening the muscles in my feet? I said, are there any exercises I can do? And he goes, no, you can't rebuild the feet, that's how you were born. And I firmly remember when he said that, he told me that it was impossible for you to be able to rebuild your feet and rebuild the muscles in your feet, and that's how I was born. And people are born like that, and this is the only way to fix it, was to spend $500 on these orthotics and go and spend $250 on shoes. And this was the way forward. Okay, so after this second appointment, I went in for another appointment because then I started getting issues again, so I got a gel insert put on top. They even told me that these things would be good for weightlifting, which is as far from the truth as you can get, because having a gel insert in your shoes is going to provide instability for weightlifting. So I have no idea how they came to the conclusion that's going to help with weightlifting. So after being told that, I didn't worry about spending any more money with them. I went and did my own research. Now, I don't have any ankle issues, I don't have any knee issues, I don't have issues with my feet, because I worked on doing the corrective exercises to be able to strengthen my feet, learning how to walk a lot better than what I was, learning how to create mobility and give myself extra range in my ankle, so that my ankle is able to absorb impact, rather than collapsing in. I learned how to squat, learned how to move properly with my feet, so that my foot is supporting the rest of my body. You have to remember that the feet are the base for everything. If you have shitty feet and your feet are continuously rolling in, or you're walking out like this duck-footed, what you have to remember is that the rest of the kinetic chain, so everything up your body, is being interfered with and is going to be compromised by your feet. If you have knee issues, buying knee sleeves, wrapping the absolute shit out of it, with strapping tape, with rock tape, whatever type of tape, is not going to help the underlying issue if your feet aren't strong enough to hold themselves up and they're continually collapsing inwards. Okay? No amount of strapping, no amount of knee sleeves, no amount of support on these knees or the ankle or anywhere else is going to be able to help with your feet. You need to be able to learn how to walk as best you can, learn how to keep these arches up by themselves, and learn how to strengthen them. That's one of the most important things you can do, which will help with your lifting and your training, and also injury prevention as well. Because what we're doing is we're supporting the rest of the body by having stable and strong feet. As soon as that base of support is weakened, the rest of the body will weaken. So that was my experience with orthotics. I just wanted to share that with you guys, because I'm sure there's a heap of people out there which are in the same boat as me, which has probably spent thousands of dollars on appointments and stuff to try and help their feet, which isn't even helping. So I want you to know that you can rebuild your feet, you can rebuild your arches. The answer isn't always using outside materials and using these things, and sometimes it's just doing the complete opposite and going as minimalistic as possible, being able to strengthen your feet, and then you watch the rest of your training progress and watch the rest of your injuries disappear because we're able to provide a nice base of support for your feet. So keep that in mind. If you have any questions at all, feel free to post them below. If you have any friends that have this same issue, that are using orthotics, that have been spending thousands and thousands of dollars on these things, share this video around and let them know that it can be fixed.